Of solving literal equations. So the equation we have this time is r is equal to r1 times r2 over r1 plus r2. And it's asking us to solve for r1. Now, if we could just get rid of all this stuff and just subtract it, that'd be great. But the r1 up here and the r1 down here are stuck in their own way. Up here we can get rid of it if we just divided by r2, but then we'd still have an r1 down here. So what do we do? Well, there's two ways that I can think of to solve this equation. Let's see which one's better. Option 1 is multiply both, or no, divide both by r2. Okay, so that's what I was talking about first. We just divided r2. That's one way. The other one looks like we multiplied both sides by r1 plus r2, because that would get rid of it here, and it brings it over to this side. Let's do option 1 first. Let's divide this and this by r2. So the first step, we're going to have r over r2. And then for the right side, we're going to have all of this, the original part, divided by r2. Now, what's the next step? Well, one thing I know is this. If you divide, if you have like some number x divided by 1 over x, that's essentially the same thing as saying x times x. So if I'm going to be dividing by this over that, we can take it out and flip it. So we're going to keep this part, r1, r2, they're stuck together. But then we said we divided that by r1 over r2 divided by r2. So if we rewrite that as a multiply, and we flip it, we'll get this. r2 over r1 plus r2. No, I don't think that's what I meant. Let's go back a step. My idea was to divide this part. So we would do, let's keep the r1 plus r2 here. And let's just say divide by r2 or multiply. Okay, we can rewrite that as this. Okay, so then since we have both r2 and r2 down here, they can cancel out. Okay, now I just have r1 all alone, but I have r1 plus r2 here. So how would I get rid of that? Well, I'd multiply this over to here. So I get r times r1 plus r2 over r2 is equal to r1. And then I have all this. Yikes. This does not look good. Let's combine that. This does not seem to be going in a good direction. For now, I say we abandon it. Let's try option 2. Let's multiply both sides by r1 plus r2. Okay. If we multiply both sides by r1 plus r2, this side is this side, and this side becomes this side. So let's break that up. Then we get r1 plus r2 is equal to r1, r2. Okay, I say we subtract this from that side and bring it over to this side. Then we'll have r2 is equal to r1 r2 minus r. And then from here, we can factor out the r1. r2 minus r. And then we can divide this side by the r2 minus r. And then we get r1 is equal to all this. r2 over r2 minus r. All right, this method actually got us something. This one, I'm not sure where that was going to get us. Anyway, before you solve a problem, always see what two options you can go down. That way, if whatever option you are trying doesn't really get you anywhere, you can always just abandon it and try another method. Cool. All right, that's all for this video. Have a good day.